Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. I have with me two very, very special guests, and why are they special? Well, you're going to find out in a moment. But before I introduce them, let me remind you, this is not investment advice. Do your own due diligence. Do not invest any more than you can afford to lose. This is a sponsored video, and I think that's it. All right, so I have with me Daniel Barmutz. Daniel has been on this channel before. He is one of the team at Iconiqlabs, and I've just forgotten your CTO. That's it, CTO. I remembered, right? And then I have also with me Maria McCavanagh. Maria McCavanagh is the Chief Operating Officer for Verve. Verve is the company behind VLUX, and Verve are working with Iconiqlabs, and we're going to find out how. All right. So, guys, listen. Thank you so much for making yourself available. We all happen to be. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
You're so welcome. And we all happen to be in the southeast of England, which makes life easier in terms of the timing. And I'm going to start with you, Daniel. If you could just say a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Iconiqlabs. And before you do, I'm going to remind everybody there will be a link at the end of the video to the two videos I have done on Iconiqlabs before. Okay? Daniel, please.
Sure. So, hi. So my name is Daniel. As you said, I'm the CTO at Iconiqlab. Iconiqlab is an ICO and token launch accelerator program. So we help companies with various blockchain startups and ventures who are looking to do an initial coin offering and to raise capital to support their blockchain projects. We help them with financing, with finding investors, marketing. We help them structure their token from a legal aspect and anything they essentially need in order to succeed in their own sales and also then succeed as a business post-sale. We also have our decentralized venture capital group through our own token, the ICNQ token, which allows then those members of the club to invest into these startups as well. So we're together creating an ecosystem which is very attractive to investors who are looking to enter or to invest into the token space. And we also help various initiatives and ventures who are looking to create sustainable real use cases like Verve today.
Very good. Like Verve, right? Okay, so we're going to get into the relationship between Iconiq and Verve. Maria, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit about your background and what Verve do?
Yeah, sure. So, as you said, I'm Maria McCavanagh, COO at Verve, where we are on a big mission to bring electricity bills down to zero. I'm sure we'll talk more about the detail of that as we go through, but we've basically been around since 2015, started off in kind of energy efficiency and energy monitoring, and have now, in addition to that, we're doing energy trading and also data trading to get those bills down. So we're a team of about 50 people based in London, and we've been working with Iconiq for the past few months.
Okay, very good. So an already existing company moving your model over onto the blockchain.
Yeah, that's correct. So we started off with our little IoT device that sits on top of your meter or a smart meter. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if you don't have a smart meter yet. And it samples the current and voltage coming into your home very, very quickly. So up to 1 million times a second. Mm-hmm. And then we apply machine learning to that data to learn things about your home. So we can see which appliances are on, how long they've been on for, and how much they're costing you. So that was the core of our business. Then through a few government-backed projects that we ran, we realised that in the homes that had Verve, that also had solar panels, they were actually generating way more energy than they needed from the solar panel. And the remainder was getting sold back to the grid. And in the UK, that's for about 5 pence per kilowatt hour of energy. Mm-hmm. But if you're buying energy from the grid, it's about 15 pence per kilowatt hour. So there's a 10 pence arbitrage. And so we thought, wouldn't it be cool if Mrs. Jones next door to me could sell me her excess energy for, say, 10p per kilowatt hour? Then that would be pretty awesome, because it would be cheaper for me and it would bring my bills down. And the decision to use the blockchain for that was basically we're trying to reduce people's bills. So if we start having to employ 10 people to sit with a ledger and monitor all those transactions, it's going to get very costly very quickly. So the blockchain is the best technological solution right now to record those transactions in a trustless environment. So that's where it came about.
That's incredible. Now, there's two paths I want to go here, right? So one is I have solar panels. We got solar panels a few years ago. We've had a very sunny summer in the southeast of England. We had a negative electricity bill, right, which I like very much. But you're saying we could have had even more negative electricity bill.
Exactly, and your neighbour could have had, so they don't have their own solar panels, but they could have saved in the region of about 20% off their bill as well. So you would be happy with that too, I'm sure.
Yeah. So how does that work? So I fit the device. So how does it work in practical terms?
Yeah. So the little hub is a self-install. So all it's doing is monitoring the electricity that's coming in from the mains and that coming from the solar panel. Mm-hmm. So in our trial project in Hackney, where we've started doing this already, we're effectively just monitoring what's going in and what's going out. And we use the existing infrastructure, so we don't have to run a cable between your house and your neighbour's house. You're already connected via the grid.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is associated fees with that. You're paying for the use, I suppose, of the cable, but it's much more cost effective than having to build new infrastructure.
Okay. So it's all done through the existing grid, the transfer of electricity, and then I get paid in tokens, and my neighbour buys the excess electricity in tokens, in VLUX tokens.
Correct. Yeah, so it'll all be done via the app. So just to be clear, right now we have a 40-home trial in London. We have a few trials happening in other countries that unfortunately I can't talk about yet, but we'll talk about very soon. Mm-hmm. And we have to do it within a sandbox environment because of regulation. So much like people are most familiar with the FCA sandbox for banking apps and things like that, Ofgem, who are the energy regulator, have a similar thing, and we were lucky enough to get accepted into that sandbox. So in our trial homes, the trading is kind of happening automatically. The system will evolve to an app that you would be able to look at and effectively top up your energy wallet. You wouldn't, as a user, know anything about the blockchain or what was happening in the background. All you know is that your bills are less if you have this device.
Okay, and how does this work for people without solar panels?
So again, they just have the little Verve device, except they will effectively turn on the subscription to have the opportunity to buy energy from their neighbours, but it'll happen in an automated way. So their Verve hub will calculate if it's going to be more cost effective for them to buy from the neighbour or buy from the grid. And it'll effectively depend on how many other Verve devices are trying to buy from that neighbour, what the price will be. But you'll certainly never pay more than you would pay from the grid.
Okay. Now, Maria, I have a confession to make. Right? This interview, this conversation could go in a very particular direction, which would leave Daniel out, because I'm fascinated by this, right? You and I need to talk further, right?
I'm perfectly fine with it.
No, because I think there is so much potential in terms of the energy deficit there is throughout the world, the high cost of energy where there's no deficit, like what we pay in the UK, what I imagine people are paying in France and in the United States, and then also the increasing use of renewables, and what that is making available for Verve. Now, if someone, you've said that you're doing trials in other countries, which you can't say, so it has an international application over time. So why would somebody want to buy these tokens? If they don't have solar panels, they're not next to somebody who has solar panels, maybe they're in another jurisdiction. What's the point of buying these tokens?
So the big thing to remember with this platform is that there's going to be a huge network effect. So our plan is to roll out in a kind of B2B2C fashion. So there'll be big rollouts. The way there's been a smart meter rollout, we'll roll out Verve units en masse. And we're trying to make the hardware itself as cheap as possible to enable that. So we'll be bringing people on at quite a quick rate. And the way our incentive function works, basically people who have got renewables will be very heavily incentivized for bringing those renewables onto the platform. So there'll be a lot of demand for the token very quickly. I think I'll be careful in what I say because, as you say, this isn't investment advice that we're giving anyone.
You be careful. I can be careless, right? Because I'm not bound by the same rules. But people should remember it's not investment advice, right? I am free to speculate, but that's at my own risk.
Yeah.
People need to do their own due diligence.
Exactly. So yes, the way the kind of tokenomics of it have been designed is basically to encourage a large network effect as quickly as possible. What will give people the confidence that we'll be able to do that is if you look at the partnerships that we have had already. So we came out of a Google Accelerator, we've been on an Amazon Launchpad, and we're backed by one of the big 6 energy companies in the UK. So Centrica are one of the biggest shareholders in our business.
Wow.
So we're talking to the right people in the right places to make this happen. In addition to that, so something that we haven't actually touched on yet, we've been talking about the energy saving. And I said, if you were able to buy from your neighbours, you'd save about 20%. But at the beginning of this call, I said we were going to get energy bills to 0. So you're probably wondering where the rest comes from. And this is a really powerful element of our token. So not only does this data set that we have on what's going on in your home allow us to say you're going to need this much energy, so the box should go and buy some energy from your neighbour, we also can monetize that data for you as the consumer. So because we know, for example, how many times your washing machine's been on, we know a lot of information on the appliances that we have in your home. There's a lot of companies who are very interested to buy that. Even from, so some people may not be comfortable with that as well. And the point of what we're doing is to give that choice to the consumer. So we say, you know what, there's some really interesting information here on the suite of appliances that you have in your house. The fact that you have 2 fridges and a tumble dryer and 2 washing machines, if you've got a busy household, if you are willing to sell that data in exchange for energy, say to your energy company, you should receive that upside. And we want to package up that data in such a way that it'll be more valuable to those companies. Again, just to reiterate, it's going to be the consumer's choice. And maybe you wouldn't want your energy company to know how many appliances you have in your house. But there's a really simple example that I like to give. The load balancing of the grid is something that costs a lot of money. So in the Coronation Street advert break or the halftime in the World Cup final,
or halftime in the Super Bowl, because most of the viewers are from North America. Right?
Oh, there we go. Let's use the Super Bowl example. And I was going to say everyone goes to make a cup of tea, but if we're in America, everybody probably, I'm going to say in the break of the Super Bowl, goes and uses the microwave to make some popcorn. And everything goes on at one time on the street, and that causes a huge draw. And then you have to go, if the grid can't supply it, it effectively means firing up another power station or going and purchasing energy from another country. And that costs a huge amount. But by having the ability to forecast that happening through previous data, and also because all the little Verve devices will say it's microwaves that are on, this is how much they're going to use, and it's going to be only for the next 3 minutes versus something like a washing machine, which is the next 3 hours. And then the grid can plan accordingly and just buy what they need. But again, because that saves so much money for somebody, that should be passed on to the consumer. So that's the type of data that you probably don't care about, but you would be happy to use it to reduce your bill. And the key in all of this is transparency and showing people this is exactly the data that's being gathered in your home by this box. This is how much in pounds and pence or dollars and cents it's worth. If you want to sell it, you can. If you don't, that's okay too. And that's where our partnership with Ocean Protocol has been so key. Because the protocol that they're developing is basically going to be an incredibly safe and secure way to trade data. And I'm sure we can put the links up. We've got a few blog posts on how the tool works together. So that's the other side of it, which will cause the bigger network effect as well.
Okay. Very good. There's a lot in there, and there's a lot more that I can go into, right, about this, because I'm fascinated by this. I want a little Verve device, right? Okay, we'll come to that in a second. Now, so let me see. So this is an existing company moving its model over onto the blockchain. You've got partners involving Google and Amazon. You also got Centrica, which is a legacy power business, one of the 6 biggest power companies in the UK, investing in the company behind VLUX token. Now, for those of you who are in the not in the UK, Centrica was part of British Gas, which was the nationalised gas provider for all of the United Kingdom. And when it got privatized many years ago, it got hived off, and Centrica is now part of that. So this is a major energy corporation in the United Kingdom. Now, to me, what I make that mean, it says something about the validity of your offering. Now, I'm saying that, you're not saying that. Right? That's just the conclusion that I'm drawing, because I imagine when businesses like Centrica invest in small startups like yourself, they go through it with a fine-tooth comb. They're not going to waste their money. They're not, because, what's at stake are potentially millions of pounds. So I just want to say that. Go on.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you raise, and what I have been incredibly proud of in the way that we have gone about this ITO. We took on some of the best lawyers in London because we were an existing company. We would never have risked the fact that there's 50 employees there. We've got a really stable company. It's equity funded. We would never have risked our reputation. But it happens to be that a tokenized solution is the perfect way to implement our energy and data trading platform. Yep. There isn't a better technology to do it. And the amazing thing with doing a crowd sale for something like this, so we've done equity crowdfunding before, is that it enables you to educate people all over the world about what's possible. And that was the big draw for us. But as you say, Centrica are a large shareholder in our business, and we had to get board approval in order to launch this ITO, which meant going right back to the beginning of this is why we're doing this, this is the advice we've taken, and if they hadn't approved it, we would not have been able to do it.
Very good, very good. Okay.
So just to add to that, Daniel. I mean, I'm sitting here quietly, and I'm more than
I'm about to bring you in.
Because we love just letting our startups speak for themselves.
Yes.
And it seems to work fairly well. But what I really love about what you guys are doing with Verve is you've taken sort of this really, really complex issue of energy on a global scale, and you're bringing it down to sort of to every person in their home, and it's a way that they understand. They don't need to understand the complexities of blockchain or how energy is distributed and energy batteries and consumption. They just sort of, it's a true end-to-end solution in a way that makes sense for the technology itself, and it really does give back to everyone.
Absolutely.
I think that's really, really important.
Absolutely. Now, thank you, Daniel. And it's like, I don't know how the internet works. Hell, I don't even know how the blockchain works, right? And I don't need to know. We don't know how gravity works. None of us here knows how gravity works, right? But we use it.
Well, we know how gravity works, but we don't need to. You use it, right? It affects you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Now, here's a question for you, Maria. So here you are. You're backed by Centrica with all their resources that they have, right? You're a successful existing company. Why on earth do you need Iconiq? Why not just do this on your own?
So it's a really interesting question, and we were very new to this back in January when we'd written our white paper. And you can self-teach to a certain extent. We obviously have a range of advisors on our advisory board for the ITO that you can see on the website, and we got up to speed with how you do an ICO, what a smart contract is. Like, one of the things that is a bit anecdotal that I find really amazing was how smart contracts aren't that complicated. I really, whenever you're new to this industry and you start to think, okay, so I understand how this is going to solve the problem. And then, I've looked through every single line of code in our smart contract, and my engineering degree from 10 years ago now, I know enough Java to work my way around it. So I was quite amazed at how much, with a bit of direction, we could teach ourselves. But when we met the guys from Iconiq, was it April time, Daniel?
Something around that, the spring.
Yeah. And it was out in the States, and just the fact that they had, one, gone through it before, but also the incubation that they were planning on doing with these companies, the model that they had, it just made a lot of sense to us. And I think we were probably later stage than a lot of the companies that you have. I know, is that fair?
You are. I mean, we have quite a wide range from sort of early stage startups to proper SMEs, and you guys sort of fit in between. I think, it's very, as you said, anyone can sort of open the internet, go to the wiki, learn a little bit about blockchain, learn about the startups. Putting up a website is easy, and you can even create very, very complex, with good developers and good people behind it, create a really solid token. But as anyone who's ever been involved in startup ventures, it's easy to come up with the idea. It's harder to sell it. And there's a lot of importance to the how you reach people, how you communicate with people, how you communicate your idea. We help with connecting with a wide range of advisors from around the world who can give additional insight to either a homegrown project or a larger company who has sort of a new idea of blockchain that they want to incorporate into their business.
Okay. Now, is this because you've just done the ICO yourself and you've picked up stuff on the way, Daniel, or is there some extra special expertise that you bring to the table?
So the team comes from a background of traditional venture capital and alternative investing. So that's our bread and butter. And on top of that, we've hired in people and experts from around the world who come from the blockchain and startup environments. So we're able to give a full round perspective on how to build a company, how to run an ICO, and how to maintain that ongoing product and relationship with your investors and customer base after the sale itself. Because it's not just important to make 50 million raise in 7 days and have a nice successful sale. You actually want to create a product.
Right.
And I would absolutely, sorry to interrupt you, I'd absolutely agree with that. And I think what I've been most impressed by, we have since April navigated a very difficult market together. And what I think the real strength that Iconiq bring is a lot of it is actually what they did beforehand. So the skills of the team, and this market, the way it is exactly right now, no one's ever seen before. So I don't think it's not just the fact that they've done their own ICO, because they did it in a completely different market. It's more that they have the previous experience to adapt and create a forward-looking strategy based on the situation right now. And that's what you won't get from a lot of the advisors that you'll see kind of advertising services, because they might have a past track record of raising a lot of money for one particular company in November 2017. That does not mean they're going to be able to raise you money now.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a constantly changing market, especially in the crypto space. Every day you have something new on the market. Every day you have a new product, new blockchain, some sort of fork here and there. There's so much to sort of follow up upon. Just from the venture investment aspect, being able to people think that every ICO is pretty much the same. Oh, you've created a new token. You're raising money for something, but the tokens and the sales essentially are the same, but they're not. It's like raising money for any kind of project that you look for, whether it's crypto, whether it's done in fiat, in dollars, or in euros. So you really need to understand the landscape and understand how it changes as well to truly take advantage of it.
Okay, so I'm thinking of various metaphors to describe Iconiqlabs and their relationship to Verve, right? So a couple of things come up. So one is, like you said, venture capitalists, right? You can put money in and you can support them to raise money. Then the other is there's a consultancy service that you provide because you want the project to succeed, because then you get a return on your investment. But then also forgive me here, I have a very kind and loving big brother who looks after me. I mean, if I ever needed anything or whatever, I know he'd be there, right? So there's sort of that sort of element. And then there's something else I see, Maria, which is, I suppose, perhaps the nature of Verve or the nature of successful business in this interconnected world, where you have to collaborate and partner with other agencies. I bet you benefit loads from having Centrica involved with you, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you've got to have the right partners for what you're trying to do. So, if you're talking about like an energy monitoring device, having the Centrica Connected Home team to call on, is the right person to go and speak to. If you're, trying to hone your pitch to crowdfunding investors as it was back then, Google's the right person to give you some coaching to create the perfect pitch. And to have a very successful initial token offering, Iconiq is the right person to go and advise you on that. And I think what really impressed us the most was actually after we signed up to working with Iconiq. Every time I'd speak to someone, say some sort of community management company or something like that, they'd be like, oh, well, you're working with Iconiq, so I know they've already done the due diligence on you, so therefore it's okay. So just knowing that they have done due diligence on us is really helpful because they're so well recognized as a company that only works with good companies and reputable companies. So that's been a big part of it as well.
Yes, in the same way, like I said, Centrica will have done their due diligence on you. So what did Iconiq do as part of their due diligence? Do you know? Can you say?
We could go into a little bit of detail. I don't know if specifically around Verve, but the diligence process that we take our company start by the application phase where they apply to the program itself.
Now, just on that, you've had way more applications than you've accepted. Isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely. We have had over 500 applications to date. We only started in February this year.
Yeah.
And we've so far accepted 9 companies. Few more joining us soon, but we'll talk about that in the next video. No, so they, as you can tell by the numbers, absolutely. So we start with an application, we review all the applications from these companies, and we start filtering them out based on the idea. The big question, of course, is blockchain relevant? Is a token even needed? Why are you not raising regular equity? And then we also review the team itself to see if they're capable, if they're proper people, because we know that the ICO market is filled with bad actors. We saw this in the last year. I think the recent numbers are 80% of ICOs have either failed or disappeared. So we want to ensure to our investors of the ICNQ token that the companies that we put forward to them are real companies with real people who have a real chance to succeed. We have a series of interviews. We have a little bit of tech due diligence. We obviously look at the legal nature. What would the regulators say? In which jurisdiction the company or the token then operates? And if it's all successful, we accept the companies into the program. We start working with them on a weekly basis to prepare them for their token launch.
So what do you do with them on a weekly basis in your working with them?
Oh, what don't we do? We cover things from we cover marketing. Yeah. We cover sort of their own sort of pitch of the product itself. We put them in front of investors. We put them in front of various market actors who would be relevant. We make connections between them to service providers, to auditors, for example, for the token itself. Everything to give them as much credibility possible and prepare them as much as possible to have the best successful sale that they can.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely very. We have a call every week that doesn't move. That we can. It can be anything, just depending on what's happened in the previous week. That it's the thing we focus on. So it could be something around like. It's generally on like contributor management, investment conversations, things like that. At the minute, just because of the stage that we're at, but even still, like we'll have conversations around, oh well, what part do you think is resonating with people? So whenever we talk about the data sales, what's the best example? And we'll look to like A/B test different things and see, how the prospective consumers respond. But in addition to that, I think particularly from the marketing side, what I've really liked is that through the team at Iconiq, our marketing manager has someone to go and bounce things off. So if you're using the Big Brother example, like Becky, who works for us, is absolutely incredible, and her gut is right all the time, but she just needs someone to go and like who is in the same professional industry as her, because I'm not a marketeer, I'm an engineer. So she needs someone to go and talk to and say, look, this is my plan, how do you think this is going to come out? And just to have someone who's been there and done it is really helpful.
Right, okay. Now, Iconiqlabs are not a charity. And it's not
not to date.
Not today, and it's not like you have nothing to do, right? This is just your hobby of yours, right? And the team. So what's in it for them? How do they get remunerated?
From our end, it varies from company to company. It depends also how we help them. So as we said, every ICO is different, every raise, every company, every product is different. So do sort of our involvements in the companies. For example, Verve being a more established company tends to need slightly less help from us, so they have other services helping them out in different areas. So it really comes down, but we tend not to charge a fee. We actually just take a percentage from the sale itself. So we also gain interest in the sale succeeding and the token having value in the long run,
right.
Which again for the decentralized ICNQ VC club is extremely important, because you're not buying tokens to fork them on the next best exchange the next day. We believe in long-term investment. We believe in these companies running for a long period of time, hodl all the way. So we want to see that, and we want to be invested in the same level as our investors.
Okay. Now, let's pretend I'm a possible interested investor, right? I could go to the Verve website and I can go and buy the VLUX token. When does the ITO start, the token offering?
So it's currently, the crowd sale part is currently scheduled towards the end of November.
Okay.
So we're in the pre-sale phase right now.
And is that open to individual investors?
Yes, absolutely. So the minimum pre-sale investment is £25,000 sterling, so the equivalent in dollars, and we can take both crypto and fiat. So what's been I found quite interesting about our project, we have a lot of people and it's their first time investing in crypto rather than in the crypto space, or in a token, rather than equity. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we've got the fiat option, because they're like, I don't want to buy ETH to buy VLUX. And that's been quite interesting. So I'm glad we've had that flexibility.
Right, okay. All right, so in the crowd sale, if somebody wanted to come in, right, they could go to the website and they can pay in Bitcoin or ETH or whatever, because there's an ERC20 token, right, the VLUX token?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay, so they could pay for that, right? Or they could buy it through Iconiqlabs somehow, and I've forgotten, right, the way that I would do that.
So members of the ICNQ Investment Club are holders of our own token, which we started the sale a few months ago, still ongoing. We have 500,000 tokens going on sale on the GBX exchange at the end of this month, for example. So if you're a holder of ICNQ, you then automatically gain access to privileged pre-sales that will be done by our graduating startups. In the case of VLUX, there will be a pre-sale dedicated to the ICNQ token holders. Right. If you are an ICNQ token holder, you get additional benefits like bonuses that are related to that sale. So you can participate in Verve's sale, whether you have ICNQ or not. You can just go to them directly. But if you come through the ICNQ token, you get the additional benefits that the club members have. If you hold, for example, over 100,000 worth of tokens, you also get to even engage in more exclusive deals with the company and with us as well. So you have a few avenues as an investor to choose from. But we don't force any kind of investment upon ICNQ holders, hence the decentralized VC model. It's up to you. We source the companies. We are the gatekeepers. We provide the strict due diligence. And then it's up to you to choose if you want to use that token as an access voucher. Right. To participate in these startups.
Okay, and that's important. I remember that from my interview as an access voucher. So one way is I go to the website, I pay Bitcoin or ETH or fiat to buy VLUX tokens. The other way is I have ICNQ tokens in my Ether wallet. I've registered with you somehow to let you know, I think through the platform that you're going to be
Well,
launching.
by virtue of essentially buying the token, right? Because we are on the blockchain, everything is open to that extent. So we take advantage. We already have engaged with you when you purchase the tokens. And by virtue of holding them when you participate in the VLUX sale, we can identify that you are the owner of the tokens. You don't need to send us anything or do anything like that. You conduct the sale as you would with VLUX.
So I don't need to register
those
with
tokens,
ICNQ.
you're able to gain the discounts.
Sorry, Daniel, I don't need to register with ICNQ or anything. You can just magically tell I've got ICNQ in my wallet, and then I get the discount.
The magic of blockchain.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And the important point is I don't use the ICNQ tokens to buy the VLUX token. I keep
the
those
ICNQ tokens are purely for access.
That's right. They stay with me, and then I use my Bitcoin or ETH to buy VLUX tokens. So I get it at a discount through having purchased ICNQ tokens, right? Now, how do the ICNQ tokens gain value over time?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
How do the ICNQ tokens gain value?
So the ICNQ tokens, this is only one aspect of that token. There's the entire ICNQ ecosystem, which includes both the accelerator program through Iconiqlabs and also the digital asset manager, Iconic Funds, which releases digital asset-backed investment funds for institutional and in the future retail investors as well, which includes within it an asset management platform. And through this entire ecosystem of investors, in digital asset investors, asset managers, funds, ventures, startups, and so on, we've created an environment where the token is constantly fed within. So you have funds, cryptocurrency funds, paying their asset managers in ICNQ tokens. You have investors buying into ICOs utilizing these tokens. You have startups who are able to pay their fees back to the accelerator in the tokens as well. And we're able to move this economy around professional digital asset investment.
Very good, very good. Okay, so the advantage to me as an individual investor would be that if I invest in a project that's with ICNQ Labs, Iconiqlabs, you'll have done all the due diligence, rigorous due diligence that I don't have access to, checking the team's background history, their competency, checking that the blockchain is audited and all accurate, checking the whole idea, does it need a blockchain, how valid is it, what's the market potential for it. You'll have done all of that. So there's some value there for me, right? Because you've checked it all over. And this is with your team, which has got a background in doing this, right? In the legacy business. I could then go and say, okay, well, I'll go to the Verve, I'll go to the VLUX website and buy the tokens myself, because I know it's been checked out by Iconic and it's a solid project. Except if I do it, because if I hold Iconic tokens, I get the VLUX tokens at an additional discount.
You get them early, you get them cheaper.
I get them early, I get them cheaper.
You become part of that community early on, because what's really important and nice about ICOs, unlike traditional investment, is there is a connection here, an ongoing connection and relationship between the investors and the company, and not just as a board of directors who's sitting on top of your head telling you what you need to do and how you need to change.
Yes.
But they're actually interested in your original vision. They wanted to succeed. That's why they bought the token. So if it's important for them to be there first, going through the ICNQ token is probably one of the most easiest and best options that they have.
Yes, and then I think for Verve, Maria, I think the other thing that I've seen that Iconiqlabs can do, not only bring you lots of connections and stuff, but also lots and lots of potential investors through their channels. And then I imagine there's a cumulative network effect, because like let's say in a year's time, Iconiqlabs have supported 10 ICOs successfully. Well, then there's the next 10 that come in 2019, and then there's all the connections and experience and knowledge that you've gained that you're going to bring to those ones as well, and so on and so on and so forth. Very good. Okay, is there anything else you guys want to say, anything we haven't covered that you think would be useful and relevant for people?
I think I would just like to, ask people to, if they're interested in the project, keep an eye on Twitter and our Telegram, because there are so many exciting announcements that we're going to have coming up soon. And We are also presenting at Wired in London this week, which is going to be live streamed, so we can include the link. We'll put that in the Telegram as well. And just really educate yourself on what is possible and how the energy industry is going to change and needs to change. And I hope everyone can be part of the community in one way or another, whether it's a token holder or just an observer.
Yes, Maria, thank you so much. Daniel, anything for you?
Yeah, no, for mine, I think just to strengthen that, I think there's so many exciting projects out there. Look out for Verve and VLUX. I think there's going to be some really exciting things coming soon. We have a few more companies we'll be announcing in the following months. We have Iconic Fund launching later this year, and the ICNQ token is going on sale again on the GPX exchange on the 29th of October. So that's something to look forward to. Otherwise, ICOs, do your own due diligence, be smart, follow the professional investment guidelines when you do invest, and we're here for anyone who is looking for help, either if they have their own project or if they're investors who are looking for interesting projects and really diversified projects. We'd be happy to speak to anyone. So you can follow us either on Twitter on Iconiqlab or our Telegram channel, or just search ICNQ on Google.
Fabulous. And I'll have the relevant links in the description below. And Daniel, that was brilliant. This is Crypto Rich and the Crypto Daniel show just now. Thank you very much, Daniel. Right? and I got to say, I had the idea of putting both of you together because I wanted to see, well, what does it actually look like in reality? And I just really appreciate how both of you have really clarified it, certainly for me and for the viewers, right, on the benefit to be gained for both projects in their collaboration. And for everybody who's watching, if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the description below. Remember, check them out. There's no harm done in having a look, joining the Telegram group, asking any and all questions that you need to ask so you can satisfy yourself whether these are projects that you want to participate in. And from myself, Crypto Rich and Crypto Maria and Crypto Daniel, until keep filling your pockets with crypto profits, and until we see you again, all the best. Bye-bye.